What if the secret to overcoming life's toughest challenges isn't about being stronger, but about being smarter in how you carry them? Let's explore a shift in mindset that can turn struggles into strength. Welcome to the Knowledge Gumbo Podcast, where we mix together timeless wisdom and thought provoking stories using quotes, sayings, proverbs, and book passages, primarily by Black women. I am your host, Alicia Thomas. Let's get into a little bit of today's spice. It's not the load that breaks you down, it's the way you carry it, by Lena Horne. Lena Horne has been a phenomenal woman her entire life. And as a teenager, she joined the NAACP, National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, for those who don't know what it stands for, and became one of its youngest members. And her involvement early in the civil rights advocacy shaped her lifelong commitment to social justice. When we think about this quote of it's not the load that breaks you down, it's the way you carry it, we think about stress. And when you look up how stress affects people, we know that chronic stress is linked to about 75% of doctor's visits in the US. And it has a profound effect on your health overall, mentally as well as physically. And when we think about the quote, what comes to mind is don't do hard for hard's sake. Life is hard on its own, and we don't have to add anything to that. But we tend to always think about, if it's not hard, it's not right. If something's too easy, something's wrong with it. Hard, like anything else, is a cycle. Some things are very hard, some things are not so hard, some things are easy. It doesn't determine whether or not something is valuable as to how hard it is. And along with this quote about how we carry it, we have to get over that, Superwoman narrative that sometimes is put on Black women and look to create support systems for ourselves, because we are not meant to carry it alone. And when we buy into that fallacy, it negates our need for community. It negates our need for connection with other people. I mean, we don't have to share everything with everybody, but we should have a small group of people that we do life with. And sometimes it's for a lifetime. Sometimes it's just for a season. Sometimes it's just for a moment to find a person in a crowd or in a group that you connect with that can help you carry whatever you guys are working on or going through at that time. We were not meant to slap that S on our chest, flick our cape back, and fly through the air alone. We were meant to support one another. We were not meant to struggle on our own. And when we look at Lena Horne, her life is a testament to some of this, because she was the first African American woman to sign a long-term contract with a major Hollywood studio, MGM, back in the 1940s. Despite having this accomplishment, it came with the heavy burden of facing racism and having to deal with the fact that she was cast in roles in parts that could be cut out when they showed the movies in southern states. Think about that. All your hard work is missing because audience couldn't deal with the fact that a Black woman was in the movie. It had nothing to do with, and everything to do with, just the color of her skin. And that is just an incredible testament that she did not give up. She did not get angry. Her performances did not suffer, but she took all of that and kept going And it never stopped her from participating in civil rights movements. It didn't stop her from performing to raise money for civil rights in other organizations. She found a way to carry that load of racism and hatred and people being complicit, which is the Hollywood studio itself being complicit in doing that instead of standing up and saying, no, we believe in her talent. She's talented. This is who we wanted to be in the film, and we're going to show the film in its entirety because we still see some of that today. It manifests itself a little different, but it's still there. But when we look over her life, it did not stop her from performing. It did not stop her from being great. It did not stop her from serving her community. I mean, she got together with other people, with other actors and actresses, and they leveraged their popularity to make changes in their communities. And it allowed her to be able to carry this burden and it not completely destroy her. It did not take away her love for her gifts and her talents and where she chose to live her life. I'm sure she had many hard times, but she didn't stay down because she had that sense of community and she found different ways to adjust the load so that it did not crush her. In a way, she was her own form of a civil engineer and learning how to build something that shared the load so that no one area of her life crushed by it. And that's a valuable lesson for us to, as I said, create a community that helps support us. And it doesn't have to be a lot of people. But also for ourselves, we have to change our mindset of how we look at stress and how we deal with certain things and don't just let it pile up until it has no recourse but to crush us. We don't have to let things pile up and we don't have to take and internalize the stress. We don't have to take and internalize racism. We don't have to take and internalize criticism until it crushes you like a vice. You can listen to what people have to say or what people throw at you and say, does this have any value? Extract the value, discard the rest. It's not your job to be a garbage can for other people's trash. Let's look at this week's challenge. What's one burden you can delegate or let go of this week to lighten your mental or emotional load? We have to be committed to letting stuff go, to not continuously carrying things that don't serve you, that have no true or eternal value. We have to let go of things that are meant to be temporary and let them be temporary. Don't take something that's temporary and make it permanent because that adds to your load as well. And as you go through this, one way I found to lighten my own load is to think of someone else, to try to help and serve someone else who's going through something. So take the time to think of someone in your life who you can see is carrying a heavy load and offer support. Say, I see what you're going through. I'm here for you. How can we work this out? How can I help? Because sometimes help is just listening. You don't have to have the answers. A lot of times people just need to be seen and they need to be heard. And through that, they get the respect that they need. They feel the love that you have for them. And you don't have to be a genius. You don't have to have answers. You don't have to go in and again with your S on your chest and your cape flying in the wind and have all the answers. Because if you really think about it, when I talk to women who are married and they talk about, their husbands having conversations and the husband just wants to fix it. And you're just saying, I just want to be heard. I want to get it off my chest. I want to get it off my plate. And sometimes when you talk through something, you find your own answers just in how you express and talk about the situation. And that's what you need. You need a place and a space to bounce things off of so that you can see them, so they're not so close and right in front of your face, that you have space and depth to take it apart and look at it and find your own answers. So, I'm just out there saying, hey, look at it, be a help to someone else, because sometimes helping other people helps you solve your issues. And a lot of times being a help also just takes your mind off of your issues. And when you come back to it, you are fresher for it. Like I said, when we look at Lena Horne, she dealt with it on several levels, but managed to balance out everything, even when things were blatantly honest. Like, for example, she was being considered for a lead role in a movie called Pinky. It was about a light-skinned Black woman passing for white. The studio gave the role to a white actress instead because they believed the audience wouldn't accept a Black actress in such a prominent part. Even though, as we all know, Lena Horne, very fair, very light skinned. And the double-edged sword for that is because she was so fair and light skinned was one of the reasons MGM gave her that contract, made her the first African American to have a contract with a major studio, was because they felt she would be marketable for that same light complexion. We can't make this stuff up, but we have to honor her because her whole life was class personified. And I think that's something we can take with us is if you look at it, the load she carried, how she carried it, grace, class, style, that's something to emulate. If you love what you've heard today, stay connected by subscribing to the Gumbo Collective on Substack. You'll find things like a blog version of our podcast. You'll find other stories and cultures. You'll find issues like I call the pondering posts where, things run around in my head like a hamster on a wheel, and I want to share it and find out what other people are thinking about the same things. And also, I'm going to be working on another concept on there called the fifth quarter, where I look at sports and culture because I'm a big sports fan, and I'm questioning how some of the things are covered and how not all angles are explored. So if you're interested in any of that, please go over to Substack and subscribe to the Gumbo Collective. I will put a link in the description, and I hope to see you there and get feedback as well. Thank you for spending time with me today in this Gumbo Kitchen. Please leave a positive 5-star review if you're listening to me on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Like and subscribe to this podcast if you're watching me on YouTube. Remember, our stories and our voices, they truly matter. And you are always welcome here. Please feel free to bring a friend and tell them to subscribe as well, because this kind of meal is best when it's shared and discussed and talked about. This gumbo is always hot and made with a ton of love. And we will see you next week.
Gather round, y'all. It's time to groove.